believe there's definitely something very sinister going on, which is why I think whoever does have this story will wait till the opportune moment to make sure that they do the most damage, because it's inevitable. It will come out, whatever this is.
And I'm absolutely delighted to be joined from the US today by the political strategist, social commentator, and so much more, Jennifer Arcuri. Now, you will remember that Jennifer had her personal life dragged through the mud, as did Boris Johnson after allegations of an affair with the then London mayor. And Jennifer, I really wanted to speak to you on this today. It's so great to see you, by the way. But it makes me angry, the fact that you were dragged through the mud. Boris Johnson was dragged through the mud. I don't give a damn what you were doing consensually, if I'm completely honest. I don't give a damn. But you had every single detail splashed all over the newspapers, covered in TV documentaries. And does this not just expose the complete rank hypocrisy from our mainstream media?
So I guess when they came to the story of me, they had to contrive and manufacture a complete scandal. It was absolutely ridiculous. And they had to hunt me down across 2 countries, 5 states. And when I didn't speak, they wrote quotes as me, trying to, manufacture something that didn't exist. They connected all these dots that had nothing to do with Boris Johnson, and yet introduced me to the public as some bimbo on the side that tried to run off with taxpayer dollars. It's absolutely absurd what they write. And so for everyone now that still questions, why do I speak out the way I do? What's my agenda? Well, I was introduced to the public in a complete garbage dump story, cringe news headlines, absolute lies and deceptions. And I found it appalling that they decided to speak for me. They decided to discredit and debunk me and introduce me to the public as somebody I wasn't. So now of course I'm going to speak out. And of course I'm going to call the hypocrisy on this. What is it that's so, worth hiding? Why are they creating such, a muster around this? Is this another manufactured story, or is there something more here? And as I said to you earlier, I believe there's definitely something very sinister going on, which is why I think whoever does have this story will wait till the opportune moment to make sure that they do the most damage, because it's inevitable. It will come out, whatever this is.
So you think something sinister is going on, Jennifer? Why do you feel that? I mean, I think you're right.
Look, Boris Johnson is annoying. He's a headache. He's emotionally weak. He's easy to be controlled and can absolutely be compromised just like the rest of them. And as you mentioned earlier, this point on blackmail, the leverage behind closed doors, that can equally lead to corruption. And I think Keir Starmer is just as equally guilty and, has a legacy, of these kind of whispers and kind of dodgy dealing. I mean, a lot of the stuff he's done is very questionable. I mean, he's got an entire legacy of it, and so I think it's only natural the public questions, who is this guy really? What is there that is so, damning that can't be, spoken about? Because I'll tell you, they really went the extra mile, and this is not to defend Boris Johnson and his craziness, but they went out of their way to destroy my character. That was an assassination attempt, which is why I feel like I can't stay quiet. I'm going to continue to speak out because people deserve the truth.
I completely agree. And they did absolutely not stop until Boris Johnson was destroyed and out of power. And unfortunately for you, Jennifer, you were just viewed as collateral damage by the mainstream media.
Absolutely.
And why this is so serious, and I think it is really important that we contextualize this, Jennifer, because we're very aligned when it comes to what's happening in terms of the globalists who are trying to take away sovereignty from countries like the UK and the US. And why this is so serious is that we saw during the COVID pandemic just how dangerous that can be. Now, if Starmer is working in lockstep with the mainstream media, which has a globalist agenda, then he's not putting the country first. It matters. His relationships with the media matters. And if he feels like he has to keep them on side at all times so that they don't drop a bomb about his personal life, then I'm sorry, he is conflicted as Prime Minister.
Absolutely. And he's already told the public who he serves. Davos. His interest is not in the people. I mean, this man is, how many ways can a guy be sold? I mean, and you see the infiltration. He's not the only one. And that's why people who scream, oh, it's the Tories, oh, it's Labour. I mean, it doesn't matter. They've infiltrated both sides and they're able to keep these men under control, like little puppets on a string. So it is now so in the public's face, they can't hide it anymore. And the public are now naturally asking questions. What is going on? Why is it that every single politician lies to get into this position of power, and then they have to stay, loyal to the puppet masters with whom they serve, because their legacy and hidden history is so tarnishing, so bad? Is it just coincidence that every single one of these guys has got, mega skeletons in their closet? I mean, how many times do we have to keep seeing these dirty, politicians come out and try to, keep their dirty laundry under wraps?
And
why
exactly,
is that?
and meanwhile, with both of us, we know how false allegations can be used to try and destroy someone's reputation too. So this is why it's so difficult. But if you look at Keir Starmer, for example, on the plane when he was traveling to Washington, D.C., that is a man who is in bed, not literally, but metaphorically, with the mainstream media. They are his mates. So they are all looking after the same master, aren't they? But first, hot flashes, sleepless nights, weight gain, joint pain. I know a lot of you are dealing with or have dealt with these symptoms, especially the women in the Outspoken family. Now, obviously, I haven't experienced menopause firsthand, but I've heard from so many of you about the challenges that come with it. So I hope today I'm coming to you with good news, because by now, many of you will have heard me talking about Verso, my launch sponsor. I've been taking Verso myself for months. It's been transformative for me. But today I want to focus on all of you amazing women out there, especially those dealing with menopause or perimenopause, because I know how tough this phase of life can be. Well, Celbean by Verso is designed to target those symptoms head on by addressing the root cause. It's formulated with ingredients that are proven to increase NAD+ levels in the body. That is huge, because NAD+ is what keeps your cells healthy and energized, but it drops off as we age, and especially during menopause. Here's the thing. Boosting NAD+ can make a big difference in how you feel. Women who've taken Celbean are reporting some pretty amazing changes. Hot flashes disappearing, more energy, joint pain release, weight loss, and mental clarity. I've even heard from some listeners who've told me their periods have come back or have become regulated, and they feel like they've turned back the clock on aging. The ingredients in Celbean have shown to balance hormones without going the traditional hormone therapy route. It also helps with inflammation and metabolism, which is especially helpful for managing weight and keeping you feeling your best. Plus, these research-backed ingredients have been shown to improve bone health, which is crucial for postmenopausal women at risk of osteoporosis. What I love about Celbean, and I think you will too, is it doesn't just mask the symptoms of menopause, it tackles the root causes of aging, helping you feel stronger, healthier, and more energized from the inside out. So if you haven't tried it yet and you're ready to take control of your health and feel more like yourself, click the link in the description on YouTube and Rumble, or head over to buy.ver.so and use the coupon code Outspoken. You will save 15% on your first order. So if you're tired of the sleepless nights, the hot flashes, or just feeling off, give Celbean a try. It's already helped so many of you. I'm confident it can help even more to feel better. So I'm going to repeat the address. This is the website address, bui.ver.so/outspoken. Use the coupon code Outspoken for 15% off.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that they will serve whom controls them behind the scenes. So the media has to keep things under wraps and under control. So they'll keep, I mean, Boris Johnson got equally, it was attacked, for being the Teflon guy, that everything, that he had this way with the media, and eventually it came for him. And so I think it's only a matter of time here. He can play best mates with all the media for as long as it takes. But I think, people like you and everybody else that has an audience that is speaking out, inevitably we will get to the bottom of this. We're going to find out. I mean, how many secrets can they hide from leader after leader after leader? And there is a point there of the blackmail. I don't think anybody really cares about whether he's gay. And I don't, the idea of another scandal, with a secret lover or something, I think Isabel was right to point out that that's not necessarily the big shock here. That's why I mentioned the sinister. There's something else that petrifies them, that keeps this story and this man's skeleton so under lock, in a compartment, and only eventually that key will open that, and then those will come out and ultimately hang him. I mean, how long will it be before he resigns or he's overthrown and told to leave? That's my question.
Which means the globalists maintain control, don't they? And that is what they want, because we have now seen we saw both Boris Johnson and Liz Truss, democratically elected prime ministers, deposed by globalists. And I guess maybe they are waiting to see how Starmer goes before they press the button and say, we're ejecting you next. But Jennifer, can I just talk about the toll of what happens to you when the mainstream media turns? I mean, I know exactly what it's like, but you've also gone through that. How did it impact your life?
Well, I think, where it really hit was my business. I mean, it cost me an acquisition. They made up false allegations about my company and what we were deserving of. They also told the public we received a grant we never received. And then, failed to mention that they actually wanted to fund us because we were very good at placing people into cybersecurity positions. So I, was running a very successful company, and I think that threatened them. The fact that I was able to, come over to the UK and meet not just Boris Johnson, but across the board from Cheltenham on down, Metropolitan Police, National Crimes Agency, all these people from all the parties, they all spoke at my events, and they were, I was invited across the board to establishment events, palace parties, all the little after groupie parties they go, they have at conferences. I mean, I saw it all. And I think that really threatened the establishment because I wasn't controlled. In fact, one of the things this civil servants often moaned about was that I never went up their food chain. I didn't play by their, traditional rules of asking permission. I was often very flamboyant. And, when I was pushing my events or building something, I got a lot of people involved and got a lot of attention, and they didn't like that. Naturally, Boris Johnson wanted to be involved. I did a lot of good in the UK tech scene. So that really took its toll because I don't like being the pariah. I actually did a lot for the UK and raised a lot of funding and brought a lot of investment over with the work that I did with London and Partners. And they fried London and Partners like they were guilty for giving me some kind of favoritism. They failed to mention how my events brought in so much reviews and interest. I mean, we were at the Houses of Parliament, we were at BAFTA. I was able to get access to things because a lot of people liked the work I did, and they gave it all to Boris Johnson. Like he had anything to do with any of that. But
so exactly. So what happens in a situation like that? And I experienced the same thing. Is you are thrust out of the mainstream. You're effectively cancelled. But I guess what is positive, Jennifer, is that compared to 5-10 years ago, we maintain a voice. The public are waking up. They know that they can't trust what's in the mainstream media. And there is the chance for genuine change here because people like me, people like you, we will hold Starmer to account. But also, and this is as critical, we will hold the mainstream media to account because they are the bad actors in this. And very often they are behind the conspiracies that go on.
We hold a power to account. We're no longer afraid of that power. When those bullies come out and they want to silence you with their lawsuits because they can run stories in the Evening Standard and get everybody to call you and try to get you fearful enough, we stand our ground. We never give in and never give up. And that's what you do when these bullies come at you. You stand up. You don't go away and cry. I mean, I get accused for having my 15 minutes of fame. What am I still doing here? No, the media had their 15 minutes of fame. They ran their stories. They were all a bunch of garbage. this girl's going to continue to speak out. I know all the corruption. I've seen it firsthand. I was at their parties. I went to their events. I met these men. I know how they work. So like you, I'm going to be able, and I'm going to be proud in it to speak out as long as I can. I want to come back to the UK. I don't want to be threatened with being arrested, and thrown in jail. I don't want to be hunted down by Sadiq Khan, who ultimately was behind this ridiculous Times story once upon a time. I mean, all these kind of rumors and things, this vengefulness, this was all threatened insecurities. I find these people so low. They're bottom feeders. Enough of this. They can't even stand up to
totally. And you cannot let yourself be cancelled. That's fundamentally what it's about. And that's exactly a decision that I had to make over the past year. Just finally, Jennifer, Boris Johnson's book is coming out, I think, at the weekend or in the next few days. It's currently being serialized by the Daily Mail. Are you concerned at all? Have you had any heads up? Have you heard from him, or are you expecting not to be covered in the book?
I mean, look, I don't actually believe that man that I knew is the same man that's still around. So I'm not sure what exactly is going to be allowed to be covered or written about. I'm still waiting for that Shakespeare book that he was meant to write years back. But I think the timing of the book is really what's interesting here. Whether I'm in it, whatever, it's irrelevant. But, and I think because I believe that he is going to be brought back at some point, he's got another role to play in this for his due diligence on this global stage and again, following that globalist record. They'll pull him out, bring him off stage left, I said, and that, I always talk about, and then they'll bring them back. And I think that's what that book is doing. It's this kind of resurrection, bringing him back into the public eye. We whitewashed his sins. We called out all his errors for that series that came out last year, in the spring, The Rise and Fall of Boris Johnson that ran. And, everybody talked about, what he did wrong. So we've all acknowledged it. Now we're going to get his book where it brings him back into the public. So expect more of that, man. That's all I'm saying. I mean, the timing of this book release amongst all these rumors about Keir, I mean, nothing's impossible. Nothing's off the table. That's kind of how I feel about it.
No, I think you're completely right. And Jennifer, look, we've got to keep on calling out this hypocrisy. The MSM tried to destroy you. They tried to destroy me. But actually, we fight on, and we fight on independently, because now we can call out what we see, this corruption. So it's absolutely brilliant to have you on Outspoken today.
Thank you very much for all that you do. Keep going. We're gonna beat them.
Thank you, Jennifer. God, I hope so. Thank you so much for watching Dan Wootton Outspoken. Please click on my face just to the bottom left to subscribe to this brand new independent news source, and turn on the notification bell so you'll be alerted to our brand new live shows, uncancelled interviews, and special royal episodes. Outspoken is also now available as a podcast, so you can listen to the show every weekday on the go, wherever you are. You can subscribe on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts, and I've put some of the links in the show notes below this video. Keep watching our Outspoken clips to support this independent news venture with no spin, no bias, and no censorship, unlike the MSM. Most importantly, I promise to keep fighting for you.